Hello, everybody. We are today the first time on the Facebook page instead of my profile, and we will be broadcasting from here. And I have Ruowen Huang here with me. Hello, nice to see you.
Hi, guys.
And what we are going to talk about is why do we have anxiety? And Joanne is spiritual coach and author and psychic. So she is going to analyze it from the point of her view, and I will talk science.
Yes.
So why do we have anxiety?
It's interesting because we actually have this conversation on the Clubhouse, right? So I guess we kind of break it down or sum it up for people, right? So Dana, since you see your page, you want to describe what is the anxiety?
Sure. So basically, I'm going to look at it a little bit differently today. I think that basically the reason we have anxiety could be two different things. So one is if we have a life trauma or event that is, gives us grief or a lot of pain, that could potentially develop into anxiety. And the second one is people who have perhaps weakness in their personality or in their, I'm going to say astrology chart or any DNA, whatever you want to call it, where they build it up over years. And it could be a lot of personalities that I come across from my clients are people who are a little bit more negative or they're hard on themselves. So these people tend to develop anxiety a little bit on a higher level than other people. Also, people who are emotional. People who have a lot of their empathies and have emotional responses and lots of emotions to give, people who want to care for others, they also develop anxiety sometimes due to, and please not everybody, this is very general. I don't want you to think that because you are emotional or empath that you're going to develop anxiety. No, not at all. No. I am just describing the different reasons how anxiety can start happening in our life. So.
Okay.
And then, and maybe you can tell us how does it happen through the psychic eye?
Sure. Well, from a psychic point of view, each soul come to this life, reincarnate into a human. They plan their life out, have an obstacle or have some strength. They have some obstacle to overcome or have some strength that they want to gain from, right? So all those kind of tasks would be formed up at a young age, which in a psychic point of view, we call it platform. So through the platform, you then create a setting that is, I'm not good enough, I'm not loved, or I'm all alone and nobody helped me, I'm powerless, etc. So those kind of setting would then eventually become something this soul carry forward for the early teen. They will prove this sentence is right. At a later age, they will start to realize how this sentence is destroying their life or create destruction of their life, which they can no longer go through, and then therefore they want to break through it. So due to the setting is creating at such a young age, that is what constantly trigger your anxiety, because anxiety is basically, from a soul point of view, is an alarm for you to look into. Hey, I'm here looking to. It's almost like a headache. Then we know we have some part of our body is wrong, right? So anxiety from a psychic point of view is basically a trigger of telling you this is something you need to look into, or this is something you need to work with or work on, right? And due to that, then you start reaching out or find resource that how I can overcome this, but not to be, your life should not be driven by your anxiety, because that is something that your soul really want to work on. So, to break it down, as a psychic, speaking psychic language, we would say anxiety is caused because your logical mind or your body is not finding agreement with your soul. So,
it's so interesting because we talked about it on your Facebook page, which, by the way, we're going to alternate every week, once on Ruowen's page and once over here.
You will get good at it eventually.
Eventually, yeah. And so it's interesting because we talk about it on Clubhouse as well.
Yeah.
How you explain it to me every time, and I feel every time I learn something new from the psychic point of view, that it's the soul obstacles, and then it has the platform, and because I explain it very differently. So to me, it's really exciting. Well, it's not like, not that it's exciting. Well, I guess it is on some level.
It just from, I think what would, we already come to agreement, like what, we've been doing this for months, and we realize what you do and what I do is, even though from a psychic point of view or from a sign point of view, you all come to the same conclusion.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I think the reason it's exciting is because that's from a different perspective or a different point of view, but it still brings us to the same place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if I summarize it now, what you have said with the obstacles and the platform, and then we have to realize stuff, and the trigger, anxiety is a trigger. So it's very similar actually scientifically. So scientifically, it's your subconscious triggers, and the subconscious mind, it's kind of like a platform that you get from the age of 7, where you store all your memories, and a lot of those memories that have a negative emotions attached to them are the ones that start triggering you. Yes. And so it's very similar to what you are saying about the soul, that when they trigger you, they basically come to your consciousness, and they are the thoughts that are really difficult for us, that make you depressed, unhappy, basically in the present, angry, sad, feeling guilty. So all these thoughts are coming from the subconscious based on our patterns that we have created, or it could be, as I said, life trauma, or something that you as a person have personality that you may be a little bit more negative, or hard on yourself. So, and then with you, it's like the trigger comes, and then you have to find the way to fix it. So it's the realization where, or awareness, where it's the same with this. Once we realize that in the consciousness we have these thoughts, we start looking for answers. So we start thinking, okay, and for some people it takes a long time, and they think when they're unhappy or when they are having bad days that they don't need to deal with it. But it's the same, like if you said, I'm going to eat like 3 cakes today, and I am not going to think about it. Like most likely at the end of the day, you're going to feel some sort of guilt about it. Yeah. So this is the same thing. If you get stuck in a pattern that is negative for a longer period of time, what will happen is eventually it's possible that people who had just fears might start getting anxious. And and lately with the COVID, I have to say I have had a lot of clients that dealt with more or less negativity or fears, and now they are coming to a full-blown anxieties. Because of the social surroundings and information that has been fed to us for a year. So, and virus is something we cannot see. So that kind of doesn't help, because you hear about everything and the fear is growing like crazy, right? So, so the process is very similar.
Yeah, the process is very similar. And as I say, right, we use COVID as example. Why does it bring out? From a soul perspective, COVID doesn't just trigger your anxiety because because it's a virus, because it's something that we cannot see. What it is trigger the deeper fear, which is what your soul carry with. Whether COVID happen or not happen, let's say if the soul have a fear of death, like dead, or worry about by the time I die nothing is happening, or things like that, my time is so short, that anxiety is gonna be bring up, and COVID is just trigger, right? So what the person had to deal with is not to really find peace, that from a psychic point of view, is not really just find peace with COVID itself, is to come back and understand, why am I so scared? Am I scared because I worry by the time I die, I have nothing done? Or am I scared because I'm worried to be left alone? Am I scared because I'm worried about death? So you look into what is really triggering that anxiety coming up, and then you work within that anxiety. Because COVID or not, next thing would be something else. It would be some car accidents, or it would be, your loved one is getting really ill, then you got some anxiety racing up again. So
do you go into details about the awareness once you realize? Because with the subconscious reprogramming, you don't need to. If it's something too traumatic, we can just grab the whole file, the whole pattern, and release it, and then of course rebuild it. But I'm kind of curious, from the psychic point of view, do you actually need to go into details when you are going to the self-awareness? Where is this coming from? Or do you just have certain set of questions where you're gonna get certain awareness, and then you can deal with it or release it or fix it or whatever it is?
From a psychic point of view, I can only speak for myself. I don't speak for all the psychic. From my own personal point of view, since everything is kind of planned and is there for a reason for your soul to overcome, what I usually do is I coach my client to find out what that deeper fear that they are dealing with, and then, providing some skill exercise that they can work within themselves. Because in my point of view, the long-term fix, of course, when we overwhelm, it's really good that we can have Tylenol or something that we can just, I'm going to use a headache, then people will understand, they can relate more. It's like you have a headache, and then, you always try to figure out what caused the headache. So I don't have headache anymore. But there will be days the headache is just so overwhelmed. All you want to do is swallow a couple pills of the Tylenol or something, just get rid of it. Right. So I would say whatever method works for you. Everybody's different. Some people can take their time to figure out what the problem is, and some people can simply just remove it. Right. So I think the way I prefer to deal with it is like helping people find out why you have headache. And how can you change your lifestyle, how you can work it in the long run so the headache don't come up again.
Okay, that makes sense. That's a good and interestingly enough, this is exactly what this subconscious reprogramming does. It takes it's so weird. It's so weird how it all comes to the same
I know, right?
Solution. So basically what we do, we take the trauma or whatever it is, the problem, and we bring it up from the subconscious to the consciousness, and then we release it. And then after we release it, we rebuild it with a positive one, because then it goes back to your subconscious. And then because we work 95% subconsciously every day, so we need to get this new information back there. So it basically triggers us positively instead of negatively. So it's kind of like a different mechanism, not as cute and nice as what you're describing. But
then I think our agenda is the same, and I believe it's beyond you and me, right? I believe that's what all the professional out there is try to figure out a way to, work for client and find out a way that can help you, like help them permanently remove that pain.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, as I say, right, like on the broadcast is always so short. What do you think? As your point of view or my point of view, like what can we have a quick, summary, like how people can handle their anxiety if they do have one?
So I think that basically I can give a very simple tip today for those of you that have slower mind and can do that. If you know that there is something you have an awareness, you can just take like in well-managed mind, the point number 3 is over the collarbone. And so you can just either keep your eyes open or closed, whatever is preferable. And you can say, I want to throw this issue away, and you throw it away. The important part with subconscious reprogramming is that you actually do use your hands and touch the meridian channels points and acupoints. So if you can just be here and you can just see it throwing it away, and if you can't, you just throw it away like this, but still touch the collarbone. Once you touch it, throw it away. And those of you that cannot visualize, that's okay, just throw it with your hands, that also works. Then you go to point number 4, which is over your heart, And again, it's important you have your hand over there and then you visualize the new outcome. So for example, when you were throwing away an issue with your mother or father or brother, whoever boss. So you throw it away, and here you can visualize how it doesn't touch you the way they are. You just basically are cool as a cucumber, and you can put yourself in a bubble, which we talked about on Clubhouse,
of
to
course.
protect yourself energetically from this person, and then they don't affect you in any way. And this positive file will go to your subconscious in 2 hours. So that is my tip for the day. How about you?
Wow, that's awesome. Anybody do follow up Dana, she have classes coming up. So with me, from a psychic point of view, since we work with soul more than we work with your logical mind. So what we want to do is, when you do experience anxiety, we ask you to, the easiest way for me is try to concentrate on breathing. Breathe with your nose, breathe with your mouth, and take your time. The reason of that is try to bring yourself to the present. When you're able to snap out of that anxiety and bring yourself to the present, then you're able to look deeper within your soul, is what is happening, like what is it that I need to overcome now? Why am I feeling anxiety? What is it trying to tell me? And what can I do to help whatever soul is inside me? Right. And usually I can guarantee you, the moment you bring your mind to the present, and then you start to be aware or even got curiosity to figure out what the problem is, I can guarantee the resource is always somewhere reachable.
That is, I love that. I'm learning to breathe. I have tried it in yoga over years, and it's, my mind is so busy that my mind tries overriding it, but I'm learning. It's really, and I love breathing. That's a really good one.
It's such a simple thing. So
simple and perfect. So thank you for being here, Ruowen.
Well, thank you for having me.
Those of you, you have at the bottom the Ruowen.com. You can find her also on Facebook page. It's under Ruowen Huang as well, right?
You can literally Google me anywhere.
Yes, Google her anywhere. And next week we're going to be on Ruowen's page. So same time, Thursday, 10 o'clock Pacific. So probably we'll be talking still about something similar like that. She will figure out the topic. So
we want to keep everybody healthy. Come on.
Yeah, we want to keep everybody healthy.
Mentally, physically, anything.
Yes. And then compare the science versus psychic. Thank you for watching, everybody. And we'll see you next week on Ruowen's. Bye.
Bye.